Hello, I'm Pastor Jeff Backer, and I'll be preaching this week at First Lutheran Church in downtown Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We are a congregation of the ELCA. This week we continue to focus on the books of 1st and 2nd Timothy. These were letters written by the Apostle Paul to his friend Timothy, encouraging Timothy in his life of faith in Jesus Christ. In this section of Paul's first letter to Timothy, we are focusing on Paul encouraging Timothy to find contentment in the gospel of Jesus Christ and not to be distracted by the pursuit of wealth or status to find contentment and purpose in the world. For the last several weeks, it seems that all of our texts have related to money and our possessions and how they cause us harm in a faith-filled and faithful life to God. Paul boldly says, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Money and possessions are not the evil itself, but it is our own attitude and what we do with our money and possessions that make all of the difference. Now, I'm standing today in front of the statue of homeless Jesus that sits in the front of our church, and I wonder, what feelings does it stir in your mind as you walk by it? Because there is no doubt that we can make a direct tie between its presence here for us and our gospel text for this week. When we hear the parable that Jesus uses in our gospel text from Luke this week, we can easily hear a very punitive lesson about how we live our life when we hear the story of the rich man who lives a life of privilege and abundance and wealth and walks by a poor man, Lazarus, each time he passes through the gate of his house. And in all of the times the rich man has passed by, he has never offered the poor man anything, not even a good word. The story tells us that the rich man dies and he is sent to hell and suffers, while poor Lazarus, who has suffered in his life, has been brought to live in paradise in heaven. And the story offers a look at an interaction between the rich man and Abraham. And the rich man pleads for someone to go to his brothers and to his father's house and to warn them to change their lives so that they will not have to find themselves suffering in hell. Abraham points out the chasm that exists between a life of stature and wealth and a life that is guided by faith. It is really in the same mindset that Paul encourages Timothy, because a life of faith is not lived for the pursuit of wealth in this life as the end goal, but because Paul reminds us that we came into this world with nothing and we will leave with just the same. It is how we live our life in service to our neighbor and to God that is true wealth and closes the chasm between us and God. We are ultimately content when we hear Christ's promises and we trust in them. That is the freedom you can know in God's promises that allows you to take hold of life that is really life. Come as we gather around God's good word for us in Jesus Christ. On Saturday evening, we gather in Christ the Victor Chapel at 5 o'clock, and on Sunday morning at 8, 9:30, and 11 in the main sanctuary. We are also on KSFY TV at 11, or you may watch our broadcast services on our website. Come and hear the good news of Jesus Christ that brings true meaning of life for you. I'll see you in church.